Hi, it's Matthew Lippert back here again with another video. I've got a 2015 Chrysler Town & Country van with this 3.6 liter. You can probably hear this little tapping sound. I think that's a rocker arm making some noise. So I'm going to tear this thing apart. It's a two-pronged deal here today. I changed the three back plugs a while ago, but I didn't have time to pull the intake off to change the front three. So I'm going to change the front three, and then while I got everything apart, I'm going to pull that, it sounds like from the back, pull that back valve cover off and find that rattling rocker arm and replace it. Okay, for starters, I pulled this cover off. It just pops right off. You have these little grommets here. They fit onto different places like this, and it just holds it in place. It just pops right off. So now, what I'm going to do, take all the breather assembly off, all the way down to get this off, then work on the throttle body and get some of this stuff cleared out, and then I'll come back and we'll look at what's next. Okay, the breather assembly all the way down to the throttle body comes off in one set. There was one electrical connector right there, pops right off, and that comes completely out of the way. This hose here, I followed it all the way down to right here. It pops off on both ends. Just pull that off, set it aside. And now let's look at what we got on this intake. I know we've got a bunch of bolts along here. I'll look at what they are here in just a second, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got a few more plugs I had to unplug. This one plugs into here. This one plugs into here. I took off the vacuum hose for the power brakes. Be careful you don't break none of this. It's a plastic fitting back here. So the vacuum hose here comes out. This Christmas tree thing here, I'm going to pop out with a screwdriver. This hose will have to come out. And then I've got, I'll get my flashlight. I've got, let me switch hands. I'm blocking my view. I got some screws down in there. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a screw there. There's a screw. Let me see. Right there, right down here. There's a screw right there. And there's a screw back there. I think that's all. Once I get all those loose, I'll see. I'll know for sure if that's all. And I'll come back when I get that done. These, oh, before I forget, these are actually like an 8mm, or you can also use a star wrench. I can't find my 8mm, so I'm using a 5/16 socket. It's super close, and it'll spin these bolts off without an issue. Okay, I've got all the bolts loose, but there's a bracket right here. Okay, let me see, can I see that? Right there. There's a nut that has to come off. It's a 13mm. Got in there with a ratchet, got it loose. I'll probably just take it off because this bracket has to come off or severely loose, because what's happening is these pegs here, let's see, where am I at? These pegs right here come into the bracket this way. The ones here come through the bracket the other way. So it's not wedged in there. It's not the right term, but it's, you can't go either way to get the bolt out. So by getting rid of this bracket back here, then I'll be able to take this out. And like I say, it's one 13mm bolt, and then that bracket will come right out. Okay, the intake is out. It's sitting right there. So I've got that opening right there. I'm going to take some paper towels here. I'm going to cover these holes up. Last thing you want is to get dirt down inside of those holes. I'll pull this thing out, this little foam rubber piece. Now here's my spark plugs underneath the coil packs. I changed the back three a while back, so I'm not going to mess with those. So I'm going to change these. I'll have to pull those out. I'm going to change these plugs, and then I'm also going to pull that valve cover off of that back side and see if I can find the rocker arm that's making noise. I'm pretty sure it's back there. I'll find out when I get back there. And let me take these coil packs off. You got 2 bolts right here. I think it is a 10 millimeter. Yes, that's a 10 millimeter. So I'll pop those coil packs off, change those three plugs first, and then I'll come back here in a little bit. Okay, I took the plugs out. You can see I took that one out there. They're way down in there. Okay. When I did the back 3, I come into a little bit of a problem. These spark plugs, there's this, you have here where the socket goes over, and then this round part here. Well, my socket would not go, it would go over, but that's it. That's all the farther it would go, right to there. It won't go over that round piece. Well, the problem I had was, with it not going over that round piece, the magnet at the end of the socket would not grab the end of the spark plug. So what I did was, I went to AutoZone and I bought a different, one of the old school spark plug sockets. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a rubber in there. Let me get over there. There's a rubber in there, and that rubber grips the spark plug and pulls it out. So make sure you have the right spark plug socket. Okay, here's the 2 spark plugs. Of course, you see the new one, and you see how close that electrode is to that that metal hook. Look on the other one, look how far away that is. These spark plugs are severely worn. I get really good mileage and performance now. It's going to really improve with these new plugs. Okay, on this back side, I loosened up the bolts on the coil packs. I also popped the injector connectors off because I need to take this whole thing here, get these out of here, and move this whole wiring harness out of the way. Now that frees up that area there. I still have an electrical connector right there. I need to move this brake hose out of the way, and then I can start on these bolts there. It looks like there might be 10 of them. I'll see more as I get into it, but it looks like possibly 10. I'll update as I go. We also found a couple things I need to take off. There's a little bolt right here for this connector. It is a T30, and then on this breather cap right here, there's a little screw like this. I think there's just one. That's all I found so far. I'll figure out here in a minute. But it has to come out because that breather goes in over top of the cam. So, I don't know. I can't really see. I certainly can't feel. Feels like that's it. So I'll see if I can pop that thing loose. But that has to come off before the valve cover is going to come out. Otherwise, you will most likely break it. There's another bolt right in the top. It didn't really look like a bolt. I guess it was covered with dirt and debris. When I cleaned it all out, I seen it right there. So make sure you take both of those bolts out. Again, T25 star wrench. Okay, I got the valve cover off. It's a little bit of a dance, but it came off. So what I've got here, I don't know if you can see this. You see the play in that, there's all kinds of play there in that one, and a little bit of play in the one next to it. The rest of them all seem solid. And you can also see, I wiped it off a little bit, but you can even see some grooves and stuff where it's doing some stuff to the cam. So if I didn't replace this soon, I'm going to have some serious problems with this cam. So, but like I say, this is a really bad one. I'm going to go ahead and replace 2 of them, well, since I have it apart, and I'll pull these rockers off, and then I'll go back and get me a couple of rockers. Get the rocker arm off. I took these screws here, took a T30 Torx, I loosened them all up. I loosened them more as I got up to this end because I needed to be able to get the rocker arm off. So then I'll get the rocker arm, slide them back in there, and then I will put these back, everything back together. Okay, I just went down to AutoZone and got some new rocker arms. You can see the new rocker arm on the left. You can even see in this view the wear on the ball bearing on the old rocker arm. So I've got these two, and I'm going to put these back in here in a second. And you know, I got these from AutoZone. They are a mailing product. People ask me sometimes, why do you go to AutoZone as opposed to some of the other auto parts store? And, you know, I call it the Ford Chevy rule. I've had some good Fords and some bad Fords, some good Chevys, some bad Chevys, some good Chryslers, some bad Chryslers. You know, as long as it runs good and dependable, that's all I really care about. But years ago, back in the late 80s, I was at Auto Shack store, now AutoZone, in Arizona. I was in there all the time, so the manager knew me. I needed this part that day. None of his local stores had it. So he did what at the time was really new to me. He called his competitor, Chief Auto Parts, and said, hey, this is so-and-so from Auto Shack, and I got a customer and needs this part right now. Do you have it? And they had it. So I went down to Chief Auto Parts and bought that part. And I always remembered that. I said, you know, that manager cared more about his customer getting that part than he did about him making a sale. And that spoke volumes to me, and I've been a loyal Auto Shack, now AutoZone customer ever since. And probably will be the rest of my life, just because of that quality of customer service. AutoZone is not paying me to say this. They probably should. As many customers as I have sent to AutoZone over the years, but they're not. So this is just my my little gratuitous plug for AutoZone. Now I'm going to start putting this thing back together and getting everything tightened back down. Okay, I got both the new rockers in. It's a little bit of a dance getting them in there. I dropped each one of them once, so I got my magnet out and fished them out. A little bit of a dance that you just got to kind of take your time, play it slow, and eventually it goes, it drops into place.